Hey YouTube, this is LaShawn Wiley with a new video for you guys, and this one is going to be titled The Science of Managing Car Auctions and Home Auctions. Those are the two auctions I'm going to focus on. And you can use this information for whichever auction you go to, but primarily I like to focus on those two because those are the money makers. All right, so know your budget. That's the first thing. Don't spend over your budget. Have the number in mind where you want to go as far as how far you want to go. It's okay to go a little bit over your budget because if you have the money and you don't have to phone a friend or anything like that, then you're fine. But do not go past the limit to where you simply don't have the money, because you can find yourself in a world of trouble with the auctioneers if you're not able to pay for your purchase after you have won that purchase. Some auctioneers will maybe even ban you from future auctions if you win an item and can't pay for it. When it comes to knowing your budget, include fees. That could be credit card fees, auctioneer fees, things like that. Include taxes and include possible repairs. That could be towing your car that you just won off the auction, off the parking lot, if the car doesn't run. So, repairs, you have to know about that. When it comes to homes, another fee that you can be expecting to pay is fees to dress up the property. That could include cutting the grass, trimming bushes, maybe even painting some walls or something like that. Auctioneers will charge you those fees, and that can range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 for the repairs done to a property. When you are purchasing a home, make sure you take your whole checkbook, because you may have to write 2 or 3 checks for the property that you just won. Because if there's other, it'll be the total of what you won it for. For example, if you won a house for $30,000, they may want you to write a $10,000 check for something, some organization or some department, and a $20,000 check to the auctioneer site or whatever. So that's what I mean by bring your whole checkbook, because you may have to write more than one check. All right. The next thing is do your homework. And this one is really important. When it comes to doing your homework, make sure you know what you're looking at. Make sure you know about houses if you're buying houses, and you know about cars if you're buying cars. And if you don't know, or you're not an expert in these areas, take someone with you who knows what to look for. Because a lot of times at car auctions, you show up, you hear the car run, there's no test drive in it. Sometimes you can't even start the car. But hopefully they will let you start the car, and 2 hours later, they start the auction. It's that fast. Sometimes it's 30 minutes later, they start the auction. So you have to know what you're looking for when it comes to cars. And a little trick that I picked up when it comes to car auctions: take the oil cap off and look inside of the oil cap when you remove it. If you see a little, like some white mucus snot type slime, that's steam and oil mixed together, steaming to the top of the oil cap. That's what that is. And that's a good sign that you either have a head gasket that's blowing or your engine is on borrowed time. Granted, a head gasket blown or can take a year or so to blow, but if you have a problem like that with an engine, you probably don't even want to bid on that car. Okay. Another little trick that I use when it came to cars, being at car auctions, when you put oil in a car and you take the cap off the bottle of oil. Now, if you open the hood and you see like 5 or 6 oil caps inside of the side portion of the hood or the engine or where the battery is, that's because someone kept putting oil in the car and just tossing the cap for the oil bottle. So that's a good indication that there's an oil problem, or there's a transmission leak problem, or there's a brake fluid problem, depending on what type of caps you find laying around. You can also slide up under the vehicle, look for oil spots, leaks, transmission fluid leaks, things like that. So just be careful. Like I said, hopefully you know what you're looking at. Ignore the cosmetic stuff when it comes to buying cars, because if there's a dent, you can get the dent knocked out. Focus more on the transmission on the brake system, on the engine. Focus on that. Don't focus on the cosmetics. If you overlook the cosmetic, you might actually be able to get yourself a good buy. Now, when it comes to homes, look out for the roofs, look out for the plumbing, look out for the electrical panel and the electrical work. Look out for the foundation and cracks in the walls that can indicate foundation problems. Take someone with you if you're not sure what you're looking at when it comes to home purchases. Normally, they let you look at houses a week, maybe a few days before the auction. So take plenty of notes, take some pictures, take notes on houses that you really like. A note, for example, I would put on a house that I see is I would make a note saying, I really like this house. I'm willing to pay $40,000 for this house. And that way I kind of know what I'm willing to spend so that the day of the auction, I don't just get wrapped up in the moment and find myself spending 55,000 for a house that I only wanted to spend 40,000 on. Another thing to think about when it comes to doing your homework is thinking about the repairs, thinking about the value of the house, thinking about the profit margin that you're looking at when it comes to a house, and even cars if you're flipping cars. Now, you may not be flipping a house. Maybe you're looking to rent the house. So hopefully you'll be able to make your purchase price within 3 years. And if it's a house that you're looking to flip, hopefully you can flip that house for 3 times the purchase price that you paid for it. If it's a car that you're looking to sell, you're looking at least trying to double your money. So those are the ratios that you should be looking at when it comes to car purchases and home purchases. Also, when it comes to doing your homework on the house roofs, some people like to layer shingles on top of shingles when it comes to your roofs. So I've seen really bad jobs where I've seen 9 layers of roof shingles on a roof, which is just outrageous. It's way too many layers. 1, 2, maybe even 3 layers of shingles, because you can shingle on top of shingles, is generally okay as long as you don't see too many lumps or bumps in the roof. But to have 8, 9 layers, there could be some serious problems with that roof or what's going on under the roof. So be careful with that. Cracks in the walls. If you have 1 or 2 small cracks that don't extend from one side to the other, that might be acceptable when it comes to cracks, because sometimes older houses may shift a little bit. But if you see cracks that are either wide in size or in length, long in length, then those could be problems, especially if the crack goes from one side of the ceiling over to the other side of the wall. That could be some major issues there. The house is not just moving, but it's moving a lot to extend a crack from one side to the other. If you have several cracks, not just in one room, but in several rooms, that can also indicate some serious issues with your foundation. Look for moistures in the attics and not the attics, but the basements, because you want to make sure water is not getting into the basement from the outside during rainstorms. So yeah, you also want to look at curb appeal, and you want to look at the what you can make that car look like after you wash it up. Because if you're looking to flip these things, curb appeal, location, first appearances of these items, you want them to look nice, or at least be able to bring them up to look nice. If it means doing some minor work, go ahead and do it. Okay. Stick to your plan. Don't blow your plan out of the water because you get into a bidding war with the person next to you and your pride gets wrapped up in you want to win just to show this person that you won. That's a bad plan. So stick to your plan. Know how much you want to spend. Do your homework and know what the profit margin is. Make sure you're able to make 3 times for a house purchase. Make your money back in 3 years off of rent for a home purchase, or double your purchase price if you're flipping a car. But stick to your plan, because you're just messing up your profit margin if you don't stick to your plan. Don't get emotional. Like I said, you don't get in a bidding war with the person next to you. Don't let the rambling of the auctioneer throw you off, because they're saying, $50, they're going, what's going on? You know, they're going so fast and it can drive you nuts. And they do that by design because they want your adrenaline pumping. They want you to keep bidding. Their job is to make as much money from you as possible in that auction. So you want to keep your emotions in check. Keep your budget in mind. Don't blow your profits out of the water because you stay in the bid longer than you need to. Just take a breath, slow down, and keep your cool. Okay? Yeah. Know the season. Now, when it comes to buying homes at auctions, the best time to buy is in the winter because people are looking for good deals in the winter, and they're not really able to do a lot of repairs in the winter. So a lot of people just don't show up. People, property just doesn't really like to move in the winter, especially on the East Coast. And on the West Coast, where you have a light winter, it may not make that much of a difference. But on the East Coast, look for making those purchases off season. In the summer, everyone's looking to pick up that project, and they're ready to jump on the roof and do their own roofs and do their own plumbing work. They're ready to do this stuff because the weather is great and they can put it on the market after maybe a few weeks of work and look to flip it real fast. But off season, that might not be the case. So think about that. And when it comes to vehicles, the off season would be tax time. Well, that's not the off season, away from tax time. So you want to avoid tax season when it comes to going to car auctions, because then you get not just the investors, but you also get the average Joes looking to make a purchase for a car because they just got their tax money, and they will drive the prices way up, which that's not what you're looking for. And the same thing with auctions. If interest rates are low, people are coming to the auctions because they're able to get these loans, and they're looking to mess up your purchase because they're buying a property for their daughter or for themselves, and they're running the prices up and blowing the investors out of the water. So be careful of the season that you make your purchases. All right, know your list position. Sometimes I'll give you an example. If they have 50 cars for sale at this auction, and you're number five, the car that you really like is number five. Well, you got to know number five is so early in the auction. If you got 200 people there, pretty much all of them still have the money in their pocket burning a hole. So they can run the price up high on that item since it's only number five. Same thing with house auctions, okay? Now, you may have investors buying multiples. So at an auction, you may have a guy that's buying maybe five houses. Or at a car auction, you might have a dealer that's buying 5, 6 cars. So at the beginning, yeah, they got the money. But if you're number 48 on that auction, or maybe 45 on that auction out of 50 on that list rather at the auction, then people could be out of money. People could have gotten the items that they want and left. So yeah, you might actually be able to pick up a pretty good deal towards the end. Now, be careful playing that game waiting towards the end, because if you only have your mind set on number 45 and it gets all the way down to 45 or 50 and you get outbidded, you could find yourself not getting anything at all. And that brings up another point, which is be okay with walking away with nothing. If you find yourself having to make a purchase when you're at that auction, you're going to be screwed because you're going to end up buying something you should not buy. So be okay going home handed and waiting for that next auction. Take a friend. This is the last one. Take a friend, because all of these things on the list here, if you have a friend with you, they can kind of keep you in check as well. They can make sure that you're staying within your budget, that your homework is matching up to what you guys are looking at the auction, that you're sticking to your plan. They can hold you accountable to that. They can say, hey, man, you're getting a little emotional here. So watch yourself, calm down, let it go. They know the season with you, and they know your list position, and they're helping you understand what that means. And they're able to read the room with you. They could probably pick up something that you overlooked. But yeah, take a friend with you. You may even say to the friend, hey, where's the bid at? Did he say that we're at 19.5? Were we at 19.5, or are we at 21 already. Oh, no, no. The last bid was 19.5 on this house. Okay. So you know where you are. But yeah, take a friend with you who understand what you're trying to do, okay? Anyway, it's just more fun when you take a friend, as long as they're not bidding against you. Okay? That is it, you guys. I want you to subscribe, like, and comment. Go ahead and leave your comments about things that you may want me to cover. If you want me to get into more detail when it comes to auctions, let me know as well. Send me a message, make a comment, and I'll be more than happy to reply to your comments that you leave. Okay? Thanks a lot. You guys be good.